Whenever we create a new document library in SharePoint, SharePoint automatically creates one and only one view that can show us all of the information in the library. That view is called All Documents. It's the current view that you see here, and it includes all default columns that are present in all libraries. We get to see the type of document, that's an icon. We get to see the name of the document, when it was modified, and who it was modified by. We also customized this library by adding 2 columns, and each time we added, there was a checkbox that asked whether we should add this to the default view. And because we didn't clear that checkbox, resource type and owned by are also included as columns in this All Documents view. Think of the All Documents view as your starting point for every other view that you will create in SharePoint, and you will want to create other views. For example, I created a view called Presentations Only, filtered on resource type, that will show me just the presentations. That's pretty slick. And I can imagine needing one for forms, for applications. I might want to be able to see all the documents that were owned by a particular department, all the events coordination documents, and so on. Because we'll be filtering, you'll want to make sure that you're clear what the text is that you're using. If I, for example, spell presentation wrong or put presentations rather than presentation, when I'm filtering, it won't work. So I'd like to be able to see what I have here, and then I can easily create new views. I'm going to show you how to create views the way I created the Presentations Only view. But before I do that, I want to say there is an easy way to create a view, and that is to apply a filter, for example, show me just the brochures. And then you can click Save This View and enter a name for the view. And your choice is it a public view that anyone can use or one that is personal only to you? Give it a different name. You don't want to overwrite your All Documents view, even though that's what we're starting with. But let me show you all of the options that are available for creating a view, more powerful options than you can see here by creating views within the library itself. Let's go to Library and create a view. Our choices are to create another standard view, a calendar view, an access view, a datasheet view, a Gantt view, or to create a custom view in SharePoint Designer, which is beyond the scope of this course, but is another way to create a view. Or you can start from an existing view. And normally I will start from the All Documents view because I'm going to invest time making sure that view has everything I need in it so that I can use it in this way. But you could use any other view type you wish. Starting from All Documents, though, the first thing I'll be asked is to provide a name for this view. If I'm going to filter a view, then I use the word only in the view. For example, brochures only. Only signifies that it's a filtered view. If I'm sorting a view or grouping a view, then I will use the word by, B-Y, and so we'll see that in the next custom view we create. If I wanted to make this the default view, I could. But the only way you can make a view a default view is for it to be a public view. And here's this question. Is it a view just for me? Or is it a view to be used by everyone? At this point, I'm creating views for everyone to use. Here are the columns. And notice that these are the default columns in the default order. That's the benefit I get by using All Documents. But there are a lot of other columns that are available to you to display and are available to be able to sort or to filter. And this is why I encourage you to create views here on the Create View page rather than limiting yourself to creating them all within the library, because you don't even have access to these columns. So if I wanted, for example, to be able to sort by file size, or if I wish to be able to see versioning, all of those items are available to me. However, the only way that I know that is to be in the Create View page. The natural sort order for All Documents is by name. I'm going to leave that as it is. If I'm sorting, for example, by date or by any other column that may have duplicate information, I have the ability to sort by a secondary column. Finally, filter, and this is what I want to use to create my view. Show items only when the following is true. When the resource type, that column we added, is equal to brochure. And again, you'll want to make sure that brochure is spelled correctly in exactly the same way that it appears in our drop-down list. It's fine to be able to copy that value and to paste it here. You can look for specific things. For example, perhaps I'd like to have a view that has all the client-facing materials, brochures, presentations, and applications. So I could say, well, when resource type is equal to brochure, or when resource type is equal to application. And if I need to show more columns, notice more criteria. But we'll simply use the two. We have the ability to display individual checkboxes for the rows so that this allows, in a view, users to click and select multiple items to perform an operation. For example, check-in. I can group these items. Grouping is super sorting. We'll talk about that in the next view we create. I can choose a style, determine how folders are displayed, and set an item limit. Now, the last choice is this a view that would work for mobile access as well? Notice you can only make public views available for mobile access. And if I like this view, I can say, sure, it's enabled and it's available. However, I also have the choice to create a mobile view and make it the default that's different than all documents. So it might be all documents mobile, or the small letter M for mobile, all documents. And an all documents view might leave out the date that something was last modified and who modified it in order to keep some other columns more present in a small display on a mobile device. Those are our choices. At the top and the bottom both, we have OK and Cancel buttons. I'll click OK to create this new view. Here's our brochures view. Very quick, very easy. Filtered views then, simple to create. Let's take a look at how we would create a grouped or sorted view. And these aren't two different types of views. These are two different techniques that we can use for views. So we can have a filtered view that includes sorting and grouping and so on. Let's create a new view using all documents. I'm going to call this by owner. And this is going to be, using the word by, either a sorted view or a grouped view. I'm going to use all of the same information that is included in all documents. It's possible that I might wish to rearrange the columns, and if I did, for example, I could make owned by fifth, and that automatically makes resource type sixth. Or I can make resource type fifth again, and it will automatically reshuffle the others. I don't have to change anything else. By changing one, everything after that will automatically be renumbered for me. However, it's helpful for you users if there is great consistency in how views work. So unless there's a compelling reason to rearrange the columns, I'm going to leave them in the same order because it's helpful for my users. Sorting by name, great. Filtering, no filter right now. I want to come down to group by, and I would like to group these by owned by and show the groups in ascending order. So accounting will come before hospitality, will come before IT, and so on. And if I wish, I can either have these groups collapsed or expanded. I'm going to show them collapsed at first. That's the default. And let's click OK to create this view. Here's our view. Two documents owned by accounting. It has these little triangles which folks figure out quickly and easily what that means. To switch from one view to another, simply click, and when we run out of space to list views, additional views will be listed here. For example, presentations only is now listed here. I'd like to return to the Create View page to tell you about a couple of other features you might be interested in knowing about. If you have a lot of documents, like in the All Documents view, there are some nice styles that allow you to read, particularly a view that requires you to scroll side to side really well, and that is a shaded view. And the shaded view highlights every other row, which I appreciate. If you are using folders, the default is to display those folders. However, you might wish not to have those items displayed and only display the items that are not in folders. It depends on why you're using folders. This second choice says show all items without folders. Finally, the item limit allows you to indicate how many items you'd like to display. We could create, for example, a view called 10 Newest Documents, and if we did, we would limit this display to 10 by entering 10 here and limiting the total number of items. Currently, this is being used to display no more than 30 items on a page. If I have 92 items, it will display 30, 30, 30, and then 2. This means I won't have to scroll a lot. So what you're balancing here in terms of batch size is how much someone should have to scroll. Let's cancel out of this and return to our document library. Sorting, filtering, grouping, choosing styles, item limits, and mobile settings are the groups of settings that are available to you when you create new custom views in your libraries.